ANC is celebrating its 109th birthday today. Its President, Cyril Ramaphosa, set to deliver the January 8th statement virtually tonight. Well, during apartheid days, the January 8th statement was used for many years to mobilize ANC members in the country and in exile to continue the fight for liberation. But in this day and age, we just wanted to know, does this statement still hold relevance? Is there some significance to it? Professor William Gumede from the Wits School of Governance joining us again. Hopefully, technically now we are connected. Prof. Gumede, thank you very much for your patience and for coming back to us. You made a very interesting point just before we lost you earlier, and if I may remind you, were saying just to use the statement to talk about unity in the ANC is totally irrelevant today in a world where we're facing such a huge economic challenge, since the days of the Depression. I remember many years ago in the 70s, statements delivered by O.R. Tambo talking about unity in action, let's unite, let's mobilize, and all of that. You were saying it's no longer that relevant. What is relevant?
It's not relevant. What we now want to hear is, what are the plans, to distribute, for example, the COVID-19 vaccine. How do we turn around this economy? I mean, we've got a big financial crisis since the Great Depression, in the 1920s. And then we want to know, I think, all citizens want to know, how are we going to deal with our health issues? Who's going to get a vaccine? When to get the vaccine? And why are we, as South Africa, only getting a vaccine, the end of the second term, where countries like Chile, Mexico, and Costa Rica already started on the 24th of December? So I think those are the issues, really, that is much more relevant now. So it does appear for me that, many of the ANC's institutions and structures saying are not relevant for our days. I mean, unity is one. We can't get unity unless we deliver effective public services. Secondly, the language of the ANC now, in these statements, national democratic revolution. I mean, honestly, these are Cold War type ideas. It's totally irrelevant to us in an era of the internet. We could think, during the period when people sent letters by post or through the telegram, we could have talked about use those type of languages, but not in the era of the internet.
Now, the points you are making for me seem more related to a governing party, because the ANC won the elections, the last elections in 2019, based on an election manifesto that made so many promises, including touching on health, education, safety, security, economic development, and all of those things. So why need a January 8th statement when you've got those promises you've made? You should be tracking their implementation. Should you just not focus on running the country properly and telling us how you're going to make things better and different practically?
Absolutely. I think it's what what the country needs, and also the ANC members and supporters and voters, really is, an update of, where is delivery? Where are the bottlenecks and how are the bottlenecks, can be unblocked? And, holding people accountable. That's what we want now. And ANC supporters and voters, they want that. They don't want, meaningless statements, meaningless meetings. I mean, the ANC have a lot of meetings. You get National Executive Committee meetings. How many of them per year? 5 or 6 of these meetings a year. What do we get out of there? 3-4 days, sometimes a week, in fancy hotels. But we don't get any change in implementation or in delivery. We don't see any or real effective resolutions on dealing with corruption, for example.
So what would make tonight significant in your view? What change could Cyril Ramaphosa bring using this platform that they already have as the governing party celebrating 109th birthday?
I think the very first thing is just to say, holding some people accountable and to say, the country is outraged about corruption, especially corruption on PPEs and on the COVID-19 procurement. Here are a list of people we are busy prosecuting. Or secondly, to say, look, we made a mistake on this vaccine procurement. We lag behind many countries who are poorer than us. In the meantime, we've done something about it. Or to say, from now onwards, all, public procurement is going public, and people who don't get procurement They will also, their names will also be listed so the public, can evaluate those who got it and those who didn't get it. But we also would want to see, what's going to happen with the state police, beyond just talking about it. And then also, what now? I mean, we're under lockdown. This is our second lockdown. People don't have means of income. Business have closed. What are we doing? How are we helping people? Are we going to extend, for example, the grants, the COVID-19 grants? What are we doing?
Okay, thank you very much for your views, Professor. Yeah, a very pragmatic way as a governing party sitting there. The ANC has been in power for nearly 27 years now. Thank you very much, Professor William Gumede from the Wits School of Governance, basically saying the January 8th statement will only be relevant if it is practical, pragmatic, the governing party telling us how it's going to do certain things going forward and taking accountability for its failures.